All right, back on track, back to me. This one's another one from Relationship Advice. Our number one subreddit this episode. My girlfriend makes more than me and is causing division. What do I do? My girlfriend, female, 35, makes $600,000, substantially more than me, male, 39, at $85,000 a year. She's in a career where you need a master's. My career is in a good sector with growth potential, but hard to match hers unless I also get a master's. I work 2 jobs and both are at nonprofits, so the pay is less than the for-profit side. She didn't pay for school, so no debt or loans. We both have a lot of savings. Background. She wants to keep financials separate when we get married. I get people will keep money earned before marriage separate and inheritance separate, but I always thought money earned during marriage is joint and that marriage is coming together of everything. That's how I was brought up and my expectations. However, I'm willing to go along with her wishes and set up a joint account. But even before marriage, it's frustrating and I'm not sure if I want to live my life that way. She is frugal to the point of it being a character defect. I am more relaxed and on the mindset that money comes and money goes. Enjoy life. I think if I have to put in 100% of my income to a joint account, it's unfair to her to get to put in 20% and save the rest. I said if I make more, or if we switch places, I'd contribute more, but she says that's easy to say and that it wouldn't be true if it actually happened, whatever that means. So, the situation. Normally, when joint income is so high, it's a blessing, I would think, but it's causing a lot of frictions and resentment. Here are some examples. I hope these examples help explain the situation since I've had a hard time writing this post. 1. I want 2 kids, and she says I don't make enough for 1 kid, and that I can't afford to live, let alone raise a child. She keeps referring to it as being able to afford my kid versus our hypothetical kid. 2. I save maybe 20% of my income, and some months I break even, but I am still told I shouldn't go to Chipotle for lunch or even use too many paper towels because they are expensive. She also gets really mad when I tip. She puts in $1 for a taxi, and I put in 15%. I used to work for tips as a summer job, so it's important. 3. She is very against the man making less. That she wants to split everything 50-50. So what I put in, she puts in. Not a penny more as a way to hammer home this feeling. 4. She keeps saying I need to look for higher paying jobs, and I should apply to hundreds a day like the house is on fire. I do apply just as I have time. I have a weekday job at a nonprofit as well as a weekend job. My therapist says I have quality, respectful employment and should be proud of what I do. Plus, I work 2 jobs, so I'm not sitting around being lazy. She said the man should be the provider. 5. She wants to buy the house so it's in her name and not both of our names, and I pay the taxes. But in this scenario, I'm not building any equity. When I suggest splitting the mortgage 50-50 and both being on the deed, she says she wants to buy a $1 million house that is out of my price range, which is about $700,000. When I bring up the $700K house, she says she refuses to live in a, quote, poor area. So then the only option is to each own different percentages of the house, 60-40. I pay 40% of the mortgage and she pays 60%. But she says that isn't fair to her because she's taking more risk. But I said you also get more of the upside by owning 60%, or whatever the split ends up being when we sell it. It's like you invest more in the asset and you get more ROI when it sells. So the house thing is a standoff. Now, the root of the problem. The income difference is the real point of resentment for her, and she uses terms like, quote, I refuse to be the breadwinner. I said that couples I know where both partners work, it is never the same income. Unless you have the same job at the same company with the same benefits, it will be different. For example, my job puts 10% of my salary into a 401(b), and I have great insurance. Her job makes a lot more, but benefits are less. I feel emasculated and worthless, and like my jobs don't matter. There is more to marriage than money. Who cooks, who takes care of the kids, Who does other stuff around the house? How can a marriage be defined by the take-home pay? I know people who are miserable and work all the time, and it's toxic. But perhaps, to her point, I'm not making enough in this world of high cost of living. We also live in a high-cost blue state. I should make more, and I am applying to 125K pay range jobs, but happy to do it slowly and not rush out of a job I like. Some other context. She also thinks she is poor, and her parents are the same way, even though they are very well off and have $10+ million. They will take all the napkins and plastic forks from a restaurant and all the sugar packets from a diner. Or if there is cream and half, they will bring cups and take it all, just to save money on sugar, napkins, and stuff.
No way.
They're being intentional on spending and cost conscious, but also frugal to the point of concern. People can exist at both ends of the spectrum. I feel like they think they are poor, like anorexic people think they are fat. I want to have kids and figure out the costs as we go. I mean, college isn't for 20 years. Should I adapt to her ultra frugality and try to make more money, or is this relationship something that isn't going to work due to the income difference? Like I said, though, it would be a blessing if joint income is so high. Instead, it is just a cluster of fighting, anger, and resentment on all sides. We are seeing a couples therapist for the first time today, so any advice on what to bring up? Is this all a control thing? Thank you for your advice.
I hate to say it, but this relationship is just not going to work.
You don't think they can work it out?
I don't.
Why
I
not?
honestly, truly don't, because she has these expectations of him when she makes more than 6 times the amount that he does. And she says, I can't be the breadwinner. You need to make more than me. How does she expect? She has unreasonable expectations here. How does she expect him to all of a sudden make 600K like her?
Yeah, how do you go to 85 to 600 plus? Also, he does say it near the end. He's like, I should make more. And I am applying to $125,000 pay job ranges.
That's still nowhere close to what she's making.
You'll still have even if you get a new job,
Yes,
which you make almost double, and you're not happy, you will still be in the same situation in your relationship.
That's what I mean. Like, she's still going to be annoying about it. She's still going to be like, I'm the breadwinner. The man should make more, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then go date someone in your tax bracket.
Yeah.
Go marry someone in your tax bracket. Like, you should have known all of this before you got into a relationship with this person.
Exactly.
This is insane.
I think the most insane part is that, like, her family habits are like taking the sugar packets from a diner.
That actually makes me upset, because there's people that actually could use that and benefit from that.
Like, is that almost kind of like a little bit of a mental illness? The fact
when they
that you
made the comparison to the anorexic thing,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think so, because like anorexia is literally like an illness.
Right.
But I don't know. This could actually be a mental illness.
Well,
like,
I think the thing he's trying to say is, like, sometimes people with somebody with anorexic, like, they could be like really skinny and we're like, oh my God, you're skinny, you need to eat. But they see themselves as like, I'm too big.
yes.
They're taking the sugar packets when they have so much money, and they're still taking the 1 cent sugar packets. It's like, cool, you saved money on sugar. Sugar costs you $5 out of your $600,000 a year. It is insignificant for you to be taking any of these things from hotels or the diners or anything. It's an insignificant thing that you're doing with the amount of money that you have in the bank. I feel like, is that not almost kind of like a little bit of a mental problem?
Like, okay, probably, but also like, is it just like being plain like ignorant? Like, are you just like...
I feel like you're so ignorant to the wealth that you have.
Yes.
That it's not even frugal anymore.
No, it's
you
not
are like
frugal. Like,
ignorant.
Yes, I honestly think it's more ignorance than frugality. Like, this is wild to me. Like, in my eyes, this is not going to work out. She's going to keep comparing, and she's not going to want to do things. She doesn't want to spend more on it. No, you can't have this drastic difference in compensation and also expect 50-50 split on it.
Yeah, like right now for us, like we've pretty much been 50-50 loosely. Like there's no set 50-50, but it's roughly 50-50. Like I put in this, you put in that. But we've been earning a roughly about the same amount throughout our relationship. I feel like when there's such a huge significant difference in income like this, maybe the percentage rule is the rule. Like he said, like the percentage of the house ownership. Like
Yeah.
some couples do that. Like I make this much, I will pay 50% of my income, you pay 50% of your income. Like they kind of live off of the percentage balance
Yeah.
and not just 50-50 on the dollar number. Maybe that would work better for the relationship, but I think the relationship's not going to work because of her fundamental issues.
Yeah.
What I don't get is if these are such things for her of not being the breadwinner and stuff like that, like how is she attracted to him
Yes.
to have this relationship?
That's what I mean. Like, how did you even get into this relationship?
Was she not maybe when they started their question I would have was like when they first started dating, was she making 600K and he was only making 85 when they first started dating? Or was she in school when they first started dating and then she got out and then she skyrocketed?
Maybe.
That's what my question would be. Like when she started the relationship with him, she didn't know that she was the breadwinner. So that's what I would be asking.
Yeah.
Top comment. Jesus, you two are not compatible on a fundamental level. For her, life is an individual race. For you, it's a team sport. This doesn't work. You two should at least agree on what sport you're playing. If you're looking for a calm and peaceful life, it's not with her.
Yes, 100%. You're just on different pages.
The question I have is like the joint account. Like when we get married, are we just putting all of our money into her joint account? Are we rerouting? Are you rerouting your paycheck into her joint account when we get married?
I guess it depends.
Because I've kind of already routed my stuff into our joint account.
Yeah, but then you transfer it to your
And then I transfer it out when it comes in. So like, what's the deal when we actually get married? What are we doing? We're leaving it in there. No more. Am I closing down my personal checking and we're just having our joint account? What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
Maybe we shouldn't have this
What do we need
conversation
to
on
do?
the podcast.
What do we do, guys?
I'm not opposed to anything, and I don't really have a set plan.
Okay, but if we do have a joint account, how do we ever surprise anything to each other?
I think we can have a joint checking account, but still have separate credit cards.
Right. Like, how would you surprise me at Vegas if we shared everything, if you didn't have your own personal stuff? How do we do Christmas shopping, birthday shopping? How do we do
credit cards?
Right? And then like you just put it on after. If we put our money together, how do we divide up our spending money on stuff? How do we get budgets for your clothes and my cars and Taylor Swift tickets and motocross races and stuff like that? How do we do that stuff?
I don't know.
It's our money now. I can buy as much car parts as I want.
No.
How does that work?
My money.
Right? How does this work? When it's my money and I spend it all on cars, I don't feel guilty. But when it becomes our money, that's a challenge.
Maybe we should then.
Maybe like we put our money into the joint account and then we separate spending money back into our personal accounts, but then it's like the same. I am so confused on this.
We don't need to keep talking about
I don't know
this.
how we're supposed to do this in the future.
Okay.
How do married couples do it?
Let's move on.
Okay, back to you.